Hello, on this video I'm going to talk about C++ template functions. And for that I'm going to create a new project on Visual Studio. Search for C++ console application. And now I'm going to create a function here, a regular function. And then after that I'm going to create a template function. So for now I'm going to create a void function, and the void function just do something. And that function receives a string as a parameter. And I also need to include the namespace standard here. And now I have a function header, and I have a string as a parameter. So now I see the green squiggly. I'm going to hover over with my mouse and then show potential fixes and then create definition. And that creates this code here for me. So on this code, I'm just going to display the string str. So now I'm going to call from the main, I'm going to call this function. So do something, and I'm going to pass a string here as a parameter. So if I run this program now, it works just as fine, displays the banana. But now, what if I have a integer and then I want to call the same function but pass the age as a parameter? Well, that's not going to work because this function only wants a string as a parameter. So if that's the case, I would create another function, but this time with an int, and then do the same thing, create a definition, and then finally display the value x. So I would have to have two functions in order for me to call the functions with different parameters. Now if I run this program, both will work because this function is different than this one. Even though they have the same name, they're calling different functions right here on the bottom of the program. Now this works just as fine. It works great actually. And depending on the case, you will have to do something like this. However, if your functions are doing something very similar, then there's a better solution. And the solution for that is called a template. So I'm going to create a template function now. So I don't need both functions. So I'm going to delete one of them. And then I'm going to convert this function into a template function. To do that, right above the function, I'm going to put the word template, then the angle brackets, and then type name, and then the letter T. The T will be the generic data type that we're working with. So instead of putting string here, I'm going to put T. So T is the data type. And the name can be anything. So instead of putting string, I'm going to put my parameter for now. And the reason I'm going to call it my parameter is because I want some generic name instead of a string or int or anything. So now I see the green squiggly. I'm going to hover over, show potential fixes, and then create the definition. And then Visual Studio creates this code for me. And then here inside, I can do what I want to do with the parameter. In this case, I'm just going to display the parameter. So now you can call this function with any parameter data type that you want. So now our original code that's calling a function with a string and then calls the same function now, but this time with an integer. Both calls will be calling the same function. So now if I run this program, both will work even though they're different parameter. So on a regular function, this would never work. But on a template function, it works just fine. Now, we can also have a returning data type. So this function here is a void, but we can also have a returning data type. So I'm going to put a T here, and T is the generic data type. And then on the parameter list, I can put two parameters. Or as many parameters as you want. So I'm going to create the function with two parameters. And then here, from void, I'm gonna change to T, and then the T here is going to be parameter 1, and then T, or better yet, what did I call? Okay, I'm gonna copy this, and then parameter 1 and parameter 2, and then here I can print the parameter 1, and then print the parameter 2, and then maybe return parameter 1 plus parameter 2. Remove the semicolon, and now right here on the top I can pass two values. Let's say I'm gonna have a int a equals 10, int b equals 20, and then I can do the same thing, but this time with a float. And then finally I can display the result here, and I can also display the results right here, and here I have the results of my program. Now it's a little bit confusing, so what I'm gonna do is not display these two parameters here, and also what I'm gonna do, and now I just want to rename the function from do something to something else. So I'm gonna press Ctrl H on my keyboard, and that will open this search and replace. So I'm gonna search for do something, and I'm gonna replace with get sum. I'm gonna click on replace all. So now my function got renamed from do something to get sum, and now I can run this program again, and here I have my results. So the first one returns 30, and that's an integer, and that's from line 18. And then the second number returns a 30.468, and that is a number that gets displayed from line. So the whole point of function templates is that you can use the same function and pass different parameters to it, and also you can return different data type. So T will be the generic data type. Now, function template does not solve all of your problems. Sometimes you have to create two functions just like I created on the beginning of this video, because you're doing different mathematical calculation or you're doing different data manipulation. However, if you're doing exactly the same thing, or maybe something very similar, then you're better off using function templates. Alright, so that's all for this video. Thanks for watching.